right away. Hello, hello. It's Sandy from Doux Designs tonight, and I was thinking that we would create with the Hocus Pocus stamp sets that I have. Hi, Irene. So what I chose was the CC Designs Hocus Pocus, and it's the 3 Sanderson sisters. I'm gonna do this one. I don't know why her name is escaping me at the moment. Do you remember her name? Let's see if anybody watching knows her name. I don't know why I can't remember any of their names right now, and I just had it on the tip of my tongue. And then we're going to use the book from this one. So this is called Binx, and this one is called We Fly. So I'm going to do her and her book because they kind of go together. And then we're going to build a background. Got 5 free minutes. Thought I'd watch. Oh, yay. Thank you, Becky. So we're going to do a background as well. And we are going to use this stencil right here, which is night sky type stuff. Huh? I know. And it is a Doux Designs stencil. So we're going to build a background because I really want to do the moon. And we're going to have her flying through the sky. So that's the plan. I don't know exactly what it'll look like, but we will figure it out as we go. I know I love CC Designs as well, Irene, really. And then, hello, Cheryl. So I actually have 2 Winifred. I think her name is Winifred. I actually have 2 of the Sanderson sisters. One they're standing on the ground and the other ones they're flying. And then this one has the book and the cat and the black lit candle. And then there's one more set that has the zombie guy, Billy, in it that I didn't pull out, but I do have it. So I went ahead and pulled out the 3 images that I want to work with tonight. So Winifred and the book. And then the sentiment says book, which she says in the show all the time. So I thought that would be super fun. So let's get started. No sense in wasting time. So I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black tonight. And I'm just going to ink up my images. This book is going to be super neat looking, I think, when we get done. And the sentiment as well, just because we will need it. And this is a press pop, which I'm just using to press on my Misty. And there we go. Look at that. One shot and I am ready. Although there's a little bit of some ink residue on there that I guess wasn't cleaned off of my stamp. But I don't think you'll see it once I color it because her clothes are pretty dark. So I think we'll be okay. So I'm going to clean this off real quick. And again, I'm using my sticky mat inside my Misty, so I have to put a piece of paper down because the stamps actually stick to the sticky mat. So it's a little bit challenging if you just fold it over without putting a piece of paper in there. And I'll remove those later. But just FYI, if you're not going to remove your stamps right away and you have the sticky mat in there, you might want to put a piece of paper in there. Otherwise, it might become difficult to get them off. Hi, Sissy. Okay, so I've chosen a few colors for the image already, so you won't have to wait while I choose, but I didn't pull out the the actual skin tone color. So I'm just grabbing that right now in the colors that I want to use. Hey, Mama. Okay, so, yay. All right, so we got us a Copic holder, and we got all our markers ready, and I'm gonna set the first ones up in my Copic holder so I don't mess anything up as far as order. I like them to all be in the order that I want to color them in so that I don't mess up and pick up the wrong one. Don't know if anyone's done that before, but it happens. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see the image a bit closer and watch as I color her. So we're going to start by inking up. I'm going to move this to the other side because it looks like it refocuses when I reach my arm across, and I don't want to do that to you guys because it might give you a headache. So there we go. So we're just going to wet the paper with our E000. And that means we're just going to go over her skin tone with the E000 to get it ready for the colors we're going to put in there. So I did kind of cheat real quick and look up what color her outfit was. It's more detailed in the movie and such. So I'm just going to be winging it in similar colors, but not exactly the same. So just so you know. And then her hands, and then you don't see any more of her, just these. This is her hand, and this is her hand, and that is all the skin we have to do. But doesn't she just look like she's yelling, "Book"? I just think that's cool. All right, so our shadow color is going to be E04. And I'm going to put that up here by her hairline, because your hair always casts some kind of a shadow. And then so will her hood that she has on. So we're just, and you know, her double chin. No, just kidding. Don't tell her I said that. That would be so bad for me.
I should put a spell on you.
She might put a spell on me. That would be super bad. Hi, Michelle. Okay, I'm going to put just a tad bit of shadow like around where her nose is there, because you know, the angle that she's going at, and a little bit right here by her mouth, just because of the angle that she is in. Okay, so there's not a whole lot of that E04, and that's okay because I've chosen E13 and E11 both to put, and E21, so several colors to put in here to get a really good skin tone color. I forgot to do her hands, so I'm going to step back one step and put this color in for her hands as well. Look at me, I'm all excited about this card, so excited that I'm skipping parts I need to be working on. So just going to put a little bit in her hand, and now we can move on to the next step. So with E13, I'm going to push that color back into the darkest shadow area, just because I want to keep that part fairly dark. This is going to be a night scene, so there's not going to be a whole lot of like highlight going on, because she is literally in the dark. I mean, we're going to build the moon and everything. So, yeah. So there's that. I don't know what the deal is with me, but my hair is shedding like there's no tomorrow. And then it keeps itching me on when it lands like on my leg or whatever. Not that you guys really wanted to know that, but anywho. So she's got a little fold right here between her chin and her cheeks. So I'm going to put a little bit of this color in there. And then I'm not going to forget her hands this time. Hello, Diana. I'm going to work just pushing that color right back in there and extending it out just a little bit further. So you can probably see it a little better now. I did refill some markers earlier yesterday, so they're a little bit juicy. So I have to make sure I take both caps off so I don't have any leak all over my desk. So I'm gonna continue to work this color back into itself because I really want to keep it all pretty shadowed. This is the color that I'm going to use to go around the outside of the image. Sort of like the true color, if you will. And I'm going to extend out a little bit from here. Now we're going to start building this in just a little bit more. Her little cheeks are all chubby. She's laughing and calling her book. So we're going to build her some little cheeks in there. It's amazing to me how something as simple as taking both caps off eliminates such an annoying problem. So true, Irene, so true. I'm telling you, once someone said that to me and I tried it, I haven't had it leak anymore after that. So I am convinced it really is taking both caps off. Complete and totally convinced. Some people don't believe it, say it's a myth, but I'm telling you, as I sit right here in front of you guys, it has worked for me. So I'm a firm believer. Okay, E21. Now, this E21, it's a little finicky. So I've had this E21 for a long time. Sometimes my colors change just a little bit over time.
Sure.
So this one is a little bit darker than probably yours will be. So just as soon as you realize how yours works, you'll be okay. Hey Joy, I've literally watched the ink soak back up when it's about to leak out. Yes, exactly. I have watched that as well. I know exactly what you mean. And for those that are watching, if you don't know what that means, it's if your marker is going to blob, you will see a ton of ink already accumulating on the nib. And if you pull the other cap off, you can watch it just go away. It just vanishes because it pulls it to the other end, which is pretty amazing and works really great. Every now and then I'll think, oh, I can just leave the other cap on. I'm not going to be coloring very much, just a teeny bit. So I'll be okay. And then I'll see it start to accumulate that ink. And then I hurry real quick and pull the cap off. So just depending on when was the last time you filled it up. You know, when was the last time you filled up your marker. Will be when it happens. Sorry. I needed to, we have these little, I don't know, gnats or little bugs that when Dale goes and waters the grass, they decide to come in and visit me. And I'm not a fan of that, so when I see them, I have to squish them. Okay, I'm going to use R11 before I use E00, and I'm going to give her some rosy cheeks. I mean, she's super happy. I know it looks very rounded right now, but it won't be that rounded when I finish. But I want her to have some pretty rosy cheeks. Now I'm going to go over it with the E00, and it's going to blend that out and kind of settle that R11, kind of tone it down just a bit. So I always put my blush tone on right before my last color so that I get a really good blend of them. So that's why I waited to do that. I also left her eyes kind of undone for a little bit because I wanted them to appear a little bit brighter when than the rest of her face. So far she's really cute, but I'm seeing this like line right here down the side where I think it was one of the previous colors didn't blend quite as well, and I'm going to fix that. So the way that I'm going to fix that is I'm going to go back in, starting not with the darkest color, but with the second color, which is E13. And I'm going to build a bit of that darkness over here again, because I feel like maybe I washed it out a bit. And then I'll walk it forward with E11 being next. And we'll just meet this up with that line, and then you won't see the line so much anymore. And then E21, and then E00. So this is E21. So we want to work that line to make sure we don't leave ourselves with a line this time, because that would not be fun. And since I've put more color on there, I'm going to add just a teeny bit of cheek back over there. And then we'll do our E00 again. And then we should have this blended out very nicely. And it takes that line away. It looks really, really dark right now. One, the paper is wet. And two, I haven't colored anything else. So it's going to look significantly darker than it does like in real life. So when I'm looking at it, it doesn't look quite as dark as what you're seeing. So just be patient. As we finish up the image, it won't look as dark as it does right now. All the more reason why you don't ever want to give up. Never give up, never surrender, because it'll be different when you're finished. Hi, Harlan. Long time no see is right. I think he's been traveling a lot. Okay, now before we move on, I want to work on the tongue a little bit. So I'm going to start with the E04 and just kind of put that in the back, like the back part of her mouth. And then I'm going to come in with the R11, and I may need the 12, but I don't think so. I think I'm going to be okay with the R11, and we'll just finish her tongue. There we go. So we have her just a little bit of pinkness going on in there. Don't worry, I will make her lips with a red from the color we're going to do her hair. So we're going to start with her hair next. And for her hair, it's kind of a reddish brown. So I decided to try E49 and then R59. I know this is going to sound really crazy as I tell it to you, but just bear with me. It'll be okay. E19, E09, R37. I know that's a really crazy combination, but we're going to do it tonight. Here we go. All right, so starting with E49, which is a dark, dark brown. This is what's going to give us our really good shadow. And we only have a small area of hair, which is right here. So I want this darkest to be in between where the hair overlaps. And I don't want a whole lot because I don't want this hair to be brown. I want it to be red-ish brown, reddish brown. So I'm also going to build a little bit along her forehead because I need it to be darker right up close to her head. I am trying to follow the artist drawn lines for this, so that is what I'm doing right now. And I don't want to put too much, so I'm just going to stop after I do this little bit of part on her forehead right there. And then we're going to switch to R59. This is going to start introducing the red color into her hair. Hi, Rena. So R59, I'm going to try and do this kind of in between where I put those darkest colors. And her hair is a little weird, so trying to follow her hair might be a bit challenging. But there's no rhyme or reason to exactly how you do it, so don't stress about it. Just get that color in there somewhere. Then I'm going to come along in just these small areas right up here where I put that darkest color and just add a little bit of red. So when I blend those together, you'll be able to see that red really well. Now we're going to switch to E19, which is kind of a reddish brown. It's called red wood, so it'll give you that idea of what color it'll be. And this is the one that I'm going to do a little bit of around the outside on, just because this one is more of a brown with red. So I feel like it's a little bit closer to where I want to go with this. So I'm just going to choose a few places to add some of this color in there. And then this is where I'd have some shadow going on. It'll be a little darker over here because she has that hood on. And then I want to come along her head, and anywhere I didn't fill in color where it has some white, I want to fill that in now with this third color. It's also going to make that part a little bit darker close to her head. Now it kind of looks a little brown, but don't worry, I got it covered. So we're going to move to E09, which is also a reddish brown. And I'm going to build in a few more brush strokes to kind of break up the hair a bit. I'm going to do it sort of from both angles, from the top and from the bottom, so I can get, you know, a lot of color in there. And now that we have like her hair design kind of built in, this is where we're going to switch over to R37, which is definitely pink. It's carmine. It's got the real red color that we want. So watch, this is where the magic will happen. So I'm going to just do back and forth over top of these other colors. And magically, it changes her hair to red. You still have the base colors in there that we wanted. We still have some of the brush strokes that we built in there. But the layering of the brown and this somewhat pink keeps it from being pink, but also keeps it from being brown. So it's the mix of the color that really is going to make it stand out. Hair texture is the single hardest thing for me with any color medium. Really? It is a challenge. It's definitely one of the hardest ones that most people have. So you're not alone. But when you work on hair color for a while, that's when you start to really learn. I mean, it's just practice. It's the tiny brush strokes and the practice. So I'm going to do her lips in the R59 and the R37. That way the lips will match the hair because her lips are very bright. Now I have to hold the marker upright in order to get the tiniest of brush strokes. So see how I did the bottom part of her lip? If I don't hold the marker upright, I can't get that teeny tiny brush stroke. So that is the key. Holding it upright very carefully, slowly. Take your time. And then you can get tiny brush strokes. I'm going to finish it off with R37. Again, holding the marker very upright so that I can get a really tiny brush stroke. Those lips are very small, and if you go over the lips, you'll be able to see it. So you want to be real careful. There we go. Now she has her fancy red lips. I don't know if she was ever wearing any makeup, but we can add some eyeshadow on her if we need to in a little bit. But the hair texture, yeah, just step slowly, step by step, and you'll get exactly where where you want to be. So I didn't pull any black. I didn't pull the brown for the broom. I didn't pull. So I'm going to grab the brown for the broom real quick. And then I'm also going to pull the color for the straw, this straw part of her broom. We're going to do that. Hi, Sarah. We're going to do that as well. So let's do the broom first so we can allow her face to dry while we're working on the broom. So this area closest to her and right here under her hand and closest to this part of her hand and then underneath her right here, this will all be fairly dark. And there's not a lot of broomstick, that is for sure. So E27 is next, and that's where I'm going to start working these lines. So the artist gave you some lines in there to help you texture the broom. So just follow those. They make it much easier than trying to figure that out on your own. And then I'm going to skip, I did E29, E27, and I'm going to skip 25 and go straight to E23 because it's lighter and it'll be a better contrast for our broomstick. And it's pretty easy little area there. So it's not a lot of space on the broomstick. So now I'm going to work on this part right here. Now, it is tied together. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it makes it easier to fly. So since that's rope, I'm just going to put some of that E23 on there. Now, when I'm doing a broom, I like to use the YR27, 24, and 23, and then a lighter color if necessary. So I'm just going to start building in some of these, again, shadow areas. So wherever it's bunched together. And then some down from, I'm just following the artist drawn lines. So coming from both directions just to start to build that in. This part has got a lot of lines in there. So I'm just going to choose a few that I want to mark on, and then we'll worry about the rest with the other colors. So one right there. Now I'm going to switch over to YR24. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing, just building in some around the edges, some a little bit further. It's kind of a random process. I'm only going to use 3 colors, so this one would be more of the around the outside. Just building in some of that broom. I want these edges to have that color on them, this color on them. You can make your broom any color you want. You can make it, you know, a whitish color with brown, but I like this traditional broom color. Now, this color is pretty bright, but still less than the other color. So I'm going to put some of it in there, and if it seems like it's too dark, which it kind of does, I'm going to save some of the space for a much lighter yellow color so that it'll brighten it up just a little bit. And I think that lighter color I want to be this Y32. So I'm just going to fill in the remainder kind of by just touching the tip of the marker to the paper where the white area is. I don't want any of my lines to be washed out. I want it to still look like a broom. And that will start leaving that texture but filling in the broom the way that we want it. So now we have a really cool broom set up. All right, how we doing? How's everybody doing? You guys doing good? Still here? Still watching? Still hanging out? Happy to hear it. we're getting through this one pretty quick. This will be easy to do because it's going to be all browns and blacks. So that won't take very long. So this outside cape and hood are going to be green. So we are going to use G28. Yay, still here. Making a card along with me. I love that. YG67, G46, G24, and G43. I know those are, I've picked really random colors tonight, but I just want you to see that you can mix a lot of colors together. They don't have to be in number order or anything. You can make a lot of different colors with your markers. This is G28. I'm kind of building it around her face a little bit because that's where I feel like there would be more shadow. And then this part right here is part of her cape. I'm just going to do the circle that's holding it together solid in this green. And then I'm going to start working on this hood right here. Right here where her hand is. I'm going to start the back of her hood, and then I'm going to put just a little bit along this front side because we'll have to build that in, but we'll be using other colors for that. There we go. So now we have the basics at the top. Hi, Renee. And she also has this whole flare back here of the cape that's flying behind her. Again, that's going to be completely behind her and underneath. So it's going to remain quite a bit darker than the rest of it. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in a little bit more with this color just because I want to keep this part darker. I'm going to kind of curve this like that up underneath this panel that's her wrist panel. And I'm also going to add just a few more lines so we can get this to start fanning out. Even though the artist didn't put them in there, I want them to be in there, so we're going to do it like that. All right, our next color is going to be YG67, which is also still a very dark color. So over here in these parts that are going to get some of the moonlight, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of this color. But when we start getting down here, we're going to put a lot more of it in there. So just a little bit on the front. Same right here. Up the back of her hood. The folded over part. A little bit right here because her hair would be there. And then down here, we're going to start going along where we put the darkest shadow color, and we're going to start building out from there. So I want this part to be darker, so I'm going to put more color on this one. And I probably will not use the lightest of the colors I've chosen for this underside down here because most of this is behind her, so it's going to cast a shadow on the whole thing. I should probably put a few brush strokes from down here so it blends much nicer when we get to that part, which is coming up quick. Okay, so we're starting to get this really nice green color going on here. Next, we're going to use G46. This one is called Mistletoe, actually. This one is the one that's going to be around the outside for all the other stuff. We have 2 more colors to go. This one is the center color. So we'll start building in just a tad bit more on this one. And then a little bit more on this hat, this hood on her hat. This part's a little shadowed by her hair, and we're doing that around the outside, so we definitely want to make sure we do that. This is like a strand of hair, so when we finish with the green, I'll come back in with the red and just touch that up. Now this underside right here, the under part of her cape, that part's, this is the last color on that under flap right there. And then this one, we'll just go further, start extending this out and up. And we'll blend with the last colors to get that softened up a little bit. See those nice long brush strokes? They make great for blending. G24 is next, and then 43 will be for the highlight. So I'm just going to soften the edges of the last color I put on there and leave a little bit of white for the highlight color. So a little bit right there. Same thing on this. Soften those edges, leave a tad bit for the highlight color. And now we're going to do the same thing with her hat here. We probably won't have any of the back part of this hat with the lightest color, except maybe at the top, because it's all behind her big hair. So just working this color so we can soften that up. Left a little bit of white for the last color. This one, if you notice, I'm using more of the side of my marker because I want to put more ink on the paper for blending this one. Same thing on this one. The side of my marker puts more ink on the paper. The more you hold it like this, less ink. The more you hold it like this, more ink. Just so you know, that's how it works. She's looking gorgeous. You're liking her? Yay, I love hearing that. Okay, G43 is the last one. This is pistachio, so much lighter than the colors we've used already. And just blending all together. I kind of do a back and forth most of the time just to get that final blend. So this one, I'll just go back and forth over that empty area right there. It also brings in a little bit lighter green. So it kind of brings it back up to that green color I've really wanted. So I'm definitely going to touch down here, even though we finished that one off, just because this has a much lighter green, and then back and forth here to blend that final blend with these. It has more colorless blender, so it's going to lighten my color just a tad, so I don't want to do it too much. The back and forth will give it that nice smooth look. Now, it still has some texture in it, and I wanted it that way, so I'm very happy with the outcome of that. That's it for my green for now. I'm going to add a little bit of gold. So in her regular outfit, her green and gold are mixed together, but we're not going to do that. That would take a lot more time. So we're going to work a little bit of gold on like the lapel looking areas, and then this part hanging off of her arms. So that was what I decided to do. you know, of course, you guys can pick whatever colors you want, but I'm going to start with Y28, which is actually the gold color for Copics, but I mean, because it's actually called like Lionel Gold or something like that. But to me, it's just it's like a brassy gold. So I'm going to just put some of that in the deepest, darkest areas. And then when I use the other colors, it'll deepen that up a little bit. And these are her cuffs, so I'm just building in a little bit of pleat going on right there. That's what that was. And she's got another one of these over here, of course. And then this lapel area right here, we're going to put some there on both sides. Probably her legs are shadowing that a bit, so we're going to put that there. And then right here on the edge is that same lapel thing, so we're going to build that in. And then I'm assuming this one is the same thing. I don't really know exactly what the artist was thinking, but we're going to make it that, so we're good to go. And I didn't know what color to make her shoes, so I think we're just going to work with them being gold as well. They could be black, they could be whatever color you want. But I think I'm going to make hers gold, just for fun. So next is going to be Y26. And by the way, I have never colored these. I just opened these stamps. So you guys are learning with me on exactly what we want to do with this. So I'm kind of going over where I put that darkest color and just extending it out a little bit with this Y26. It's a little bit brighter than the last color we used. So it's going to start looking a little bit more gold. The next color is going to change it a whole lot, so be ready for that. It is for sure going to make a difference. But I feel like I almost need that extra bit of color. So just extending from where you put that original color in all the areas we put gold. So this time I put the gold on the shoelaces, and this time with this color I went around the shoelaces instead of over them because I want to keep the shoelaces just a little bit different color. Next I have YR23, and then my last color is going to be 32, so we are almost finished with the gold. Now this one is going to be extremely powerful, so it's like really bright, so we're going to have to be a little bit cautious when we use this one because we don't want to make it more yellow than gold. So just, I am using a pressure of maybe like a 1 on how hard I'm touching the paper because I want this to stay very light. I don't want it to be that harsh color. So just barely touching the paper. It looks like I'm doing a lot of brush strokes, but I'm really not. I'm just, sometimes I'm touching the paper and sometimes I'm not. So it's just a very gentle touch. And then this will darken up her shoes a bit as well. And then we're going to come in and finish it up with Y32. Y32 is more of a yellow color. It's actually called cashmere. But I'm going to blend just one swoop right over top of where the white is. Just one swoop. I don't want a whole lot in there. I just want one swoop. This one takes 2 because it doesn't cover the whole spot in one shot. 1, 2. There we go. A little bit here. We're going to start filling in the parts on the bottom of these. Her cuffs on the other side. And then her shoes. Just blending those together. And now we have our gold. Now her outfit here is, it's a purpley blue color, and this part right here is like a lighter green than the green that is up here. So we're going to change the green up. We'll still use some of the green colors, but we'll kind of take out some of the depth of green. So I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. I'm going to use the G28 just like I did before, but instead of using YG67, I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to go to the G46 and then 24, and if we need it, we'll use 43. So I just kind of took the yellow green out so it won't have the yellow green effect. It will just be green. So that's this part of her her cape, her dress. This is her dress. Her dress is green. In the end, it's going to be a little bit lighter. I get a fuzzy on my marker. It's going to be a little bit lighter, even though it looks really dark right now. It's going to be a little bit lighter than her cape because we're leaving out the YG color that we put in the cape. And then this inside part is like a purpley blue. So we will color that part with a purpley blue color. I'd like to make it just purple because you guys know I love me some purple. But it's a little bit on the purple blue violet kind of color. Now this one I'm not going to use brush strokes for pattern on this one. I want this part to be a little bit more smooth. It'll help separate the two pieces a bit. But all of this is going to be the blue. So there's not a whole lot of the shirt, the underside shirt. Hi, Judy. A new marker holder. Ah, so you notice. A new design that's coming to a store near you very soon. So if you like it, so observant. I love how observant some of you are. I have been coloring new stamp sets that you guys will see. I'm so excited. Can't wait. So now I'm going to do these type of brush strokes much more thicker and smoother because I don't want it to look designed like or textured like this one. I want it to be more smooth. So now we're moving to the G24, and this is the one that I will do round the outside on because I need it to be much lighter. So round the outside and blending those colors together, leaving just a small area for the last color. By leaving out the YG67, it's going to give you the variant between these two colors. And right now it looks kind of a little bit crazy and not really noticeable as much, but it will when we finish, I hope. That is the plan anyway. So no, I'm using a lot of ink on this one.
You should show Cheryl the other thing I made you.
When we do a card like that, I will. Alright. I'm also going to put a little bit more right here just because it'll be shadowed right there. Okay, so the last one is G43. And this one is really light. We didn't use a whole lot of this one on that other area. I'm going to do some back and forth to get this color on the whole area. Now I'm going to cover this color on all the areas, back and forth, just to blend those colors together. I want this to be very smooth compared to the other area so that they look different. You see how that works? This will still look different than this. This is still wet, so it'll lighten up a little bit when it dries. And if need be, I can also add one more color to lighten up that green, which I might do. Let's add one more really light with the YG. Let's try adding 21, YG 21 instead of the 67, and just put it over top the whole thing. This will just lighten everything up just a little bit more. Kind of the way that I envisioned it in my head was much lighter, and it didn't quite work out that way, so this color will lighten that up and make that look just a little bit lighter, which I like. It looks really good. Perfect. Very helpful. All right, now we're going to switch to our blue purple colors, and I only have 3 markers for this. I have B79, B69, and BV04. Again, crazy colors, but it will work. Hi, Debbie. B79, this one is iris, so it's going to be really, really dark. I'm going to do that outline part right there, and then any very shadowed areas. So in building these, I'm also going to do the X's just because I want those to stand out a little bit. And then we're going to start building these undersides here. This is all layers of this part of her dress. So each little layer should have some shadow. So we're just going to build those in. This would be underside of her dress, so that whole thing is going to remain pretty dark. And then this part right there. Hi, Jenny. So now we have the darkest color. This one was the darkest. Now we have B69. This one is a little more blue than the one that's already on there. So I'm not going to touch any of this area right here because I want to use the lightest color for that. Because this is still a significantly dark purpley color. So these areas where it overlaps right here, I'm going to build in a bit of this. I'm going to start coming up from where the bottom of her dress is. In
asking which brand.
Both areas. Which brand stamps? Because I love, oh, this is CC Designs. They actually have 4 stamp sets from this line, this Hocus Pocus. Yeah, I love this. This is the We Fly. This one is called We Fly, but they also have Billy, the zombie guy. They have the book, which we're also going to color, that has the cat with it. Binx. It's called Binx. So there's several ones in the sets that they have available. And I'll put the link, my affiliate link, in the under this set. You going to go shopping tomorrow? Sweet. I'll put the affiliate link that I have for CC Designs in the group under this video, so if you want, you can use the affiliate link. Now we're going to switch to the BV04. And we're going to finish this up with BV04. And this should lighten some of these areas up a little bit. So we're going to start working this. This is definitely a much lighter color. So as you can see, we're going to have to work this transition area. So it's okay though. Can you see how it's blending it out? Lightening up the color and blending the two together. See, I just had to go over it a couple of times to soften that transition spot. And see how easily that worked? Most of the time that people miss out on that benefit that you get with these markers to blend them together, because when they do this, they go, oh gosh, that transition it doesn't work. It does. You just have to let it dry a little bit and then go over it again. So we're going to let it dry just a tad bit. Hey, thank you, Peggy. So we're just letting it dry a little bit and then working the transition periods. It's all about being patient, and you will get that color that you're looking for. So I'm going to just finish going over all of this, and then we'll go back over it a couple of times until we get that really smooth transition. So don't sweat it. I know that part looks funny, but as we start working those colors, they will come to life and blend very nicely. The way I know this will work is experience in using the markers. The more you use them, the better you know how they will work with one another, and it will help you to be able to choose different colors that are, you know, quite different than what you normally would use. Look at her in all her happiness. I think we're going to add just a little bit of this bluish purplish color, the BV04, to her eyelids for a little bit of eyeshadow, but I'm going to use the colorless blender to just pick up a little bit of that color and then lay it on there, because I want it to be really light. So I'm going to use the colorless blender to pick up just a teeny bit of color. And then that way we have a little bit of color on her eyelids. You say we get the color we're looking for. I usually have no idea what I'm aiming for. Well, you can get all kinds of different matched colors, and sometimes it is a surprise. If it's something that you just want to play with, you can learn how they react with each other, and then when you're trying to make a color, you can figure out how to do it. So here, I just went over it one time because I wanted there to be a big difference between the laces in her dress and her dress color. And then here, I went over it until it blended smooth for me. And that was the color I was looking for. So now we have to do this book. Now, I haven't looked at the book. I don't know from the movie. I don't remember like what color everything is, but I know there has to be some brown and black in there. So we're definitely going to use that, and maybe some of the goldish colors that we used earlier. So I'm just going to use most of the same colors that we already used to make the book come to life. So I think for this, and I'm going to add black. So I'm going to be adding some black. So I took out T8, 7, 6, and 5 because I definitely want a bit of black on this book. So we're going to start with the black color. Like, I think I want to make the outside of this in the black, the outside of this in black, and then these two snakes need to be in black. And then the rest of it will be brown and gold. So that is my plan. So I'd like to make the corners a little bit darker. So I'm just filling in these corner areas a little bit so we can start working this color. And if you can hold it upright and get a thin line, you can go down a little bit further or up a little bit further. But if you're not real good at holding the marker enough to get teeny tiny lines, you might not want to do this part. Just saying. Then around this part right here, like we're gonna make that skin color and then a specific color for the eyes. So I need this inside part to be real dark. So we're gonna use this T whatever we're using right now, T8, to start off with that. I'm gonna skip because I want the snakes to be lighter black, so I'm gonna skip the 8 and just use 7, 6, and 5. So that's why we didn't do anything with those snakes yet. So this is T7. I mean, we're not gonna do a lot of elaborate stuff on here. We're just gonna try to make this look super cool with not a lot of hard work. So that's my goal, and I'm sticking to it. Now I'm trying to do the outside of this in this second color. Hey, Michelle. Okay, and I am going to start these snakes because I want these snakes to be black as well. So I'm just going to start putting a little bit in here in the different areas so we can start building a little bit of dimension in these little snakes. Just these two though. I think I'm going to make that snake along the spine a different color. I don't want to make them all the same color. Howdy, howdy. So T6 is next. So I'm going to start building in this around the edges, leaving a little bit open for the last color. And I'm just kind of randomly putting the color in there. I'm not being real specific with it because it doesn't really, it's so tiny, it's not really going to make that much of a difference. But I do want some of these areas on this part over here to be lighter, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of that, but I am going to need a bit of this.
Michelle's asking which stamps are these?
These are CC Designs. This is called We Fly is the one that has the Sanderson sister on it. And then the cat one is called Binx. And it has the book with it. Now I'll show them again at the end of the video. But yeah, these are really cool. And I'll put a link with I'll put my affiliate link under this video when the video's over. If you guys need it, or if you're just gonna shop now, that's cool too. But yeah, I really like them. They're super cool, and I thought it would be fun to do Halloween tonight. I don't know why. I've seen all kinds of Halloween stuff on Facebook, so it was kind of making me in the Halloween mood. So I decided to just roll with Halloween today. Okay, T5 was the last gray one that I chose. So I'm just going to blend this in, the remainder of this up the side, across the bottoms, and then this very small area right there. Then we're going to build that part in.
Roberta said Sandy so far no green screen and sound is a bit better.
Oh, that's amazing. I love hearing that.
But you upgraded to the new
I did upgrade to a new cell phone. That might have made a difference. I think I'm going to need one color lighter for these snakes, so you can still tell what they are. I missed the brand. I was talking to Linda. CC Designs. These are CC Designs stamps. They were, I want to say last year, I think. Were they last year, honey?
Last October.
Last October. But this is currently, I checked before I went live because I knew you guys were going to love these. I checked and they do currently actively have this particular set available right now. Oh, your birthday's on Halloween? Oh, my father-in-law's birthday's on Halloween too. That's awesome. My daughter would have been so happy to have her birthday on Halloween. She is a Halloween freak. She loves Halloween. Okay, so I had to go one step lighter for the snake on this.
Roberta says your sound is better when you lift your head up.
Oh, my sound is better. Oh, yeah, because my phone's above my head.
Then we need to get a new mic for the new phone.
Yeah, we need to get a new mic because something happened the other night and I lost my video. But, oh, yeah, those look really good. Those snakes look really good. I'm very happy with them. Okay, let's start to build the rest of the book. And then let's do the skin for the eye first. Let's do that. That's what we need to do. I'm going to make this part skin around here. So just using the E000 like I did with her. Just to wet the paper. You're just happy you can watch now. I'm happy you can watch now too. E13 is the shadow color that I'm going to use. I didn't use E04 this time because I don't feel like it needs to be quite that dark for something that isn't even alive. Or sort of is alive, but not really alive. I don't really know.
The book is a darker brown.
Yes, the book is a darker brown. I'm not doing the book in the lighter color. I'm aware, honey. Dale's putting his 2 cents in, you guys. Can you hear him? He's got his opinion. He's such a helper. So I'm just kind of putting some shadow and some light. I just want this to be looking like there's an eyeball with skin peeking out. I mean, it all is supposed to be some form of skin or leather. Okay, so now we have skin in there. And then we need to do his eye. And I want his eye to look really cool. So we're going to play with a mixture of some colors. I definitely want it to have some blue in it. So I'm going to start with B37. And I'm going to go with very tiny line around the outside. And then I'm going to go around the pupil as well. Made it a full circle because I'll just put the white dot in there when I get to it. And then I'm going to put some of these little lines to show the eye. Trust me, it'll look good when we get done. Okay. Be right back. Yay! Okay, I think I'm going to choose to put some blue-green in there with the blue. So I'm going to pull BG18 because I want this eyeball to be a little bit different than normal eyeballs. So I'm going to go around the edge again and this time soften up a little bit. I mean, this color is still very, very dark. So I'm just going to add some of that. And then I'm going to go in with a more brighter color, like the BG34. to get me some, so I did blue and then I did blue green and now I'm doing even more blue green, but I want this to really stand out, and I'll show you what I mean. So this BG is gonna lighten it up a little bit, and then my G00, which I always do on eyes, will lighten it even more, and then you'll really be able to see it, especially once we color the eyeball in black and put the white on there. But I'm using the G00 to go around and around and around until it pushes the color away so that it really starts to stand out. Now it doesn't look quite as good, but when I put this black multi-liner in there, you'll see, and I think you need to see that before. Now you can really see how much texture that eyeball has on it. And when I put the white in the eye, it's really going to stand out. So we just kind of built it a bit of texture in there, and now we need to work on all the rest. So I think for our snake along the edge, I'm going to use green. So I'm going to use the YG67 because I don't want it to be a really bright green. I want it to just be a dull green. I mean, it might get bright in the end. You never know. Just going to do one side of it with that color. And then G46. I don't want this to be a real bright, standout snake. I'm going to do the other side with this one, just so we have one highlight right along the middle. And then I think my highlight color, I think what I'm going to do is G43. And I'm just going to go along the center a couple of times just to blend those colors together. Currently watching the nib of my marker to make sure, since I didn't take the back off, that it's not going to start oversaturating. But if it does, then I can show you how it works when you take both caps off. But it didn't do it. Now I'm going to put like gold in between that. So I'm going to use the Y28. This is the darker of the golds. Just putting where the snake is closest to the area for now. No rhyme or reason to this, just for the heck of it. Y26 is where I'm going to start extending out from that one. I'm not going to use the Y23 on this because I don't want it to be very, very bright. I want to keep this whole book dull. Nothing was bright about this book in the movie.
More of a bronze color.
Yeah, more of a bronze. Good call, honey. There we go. And I might even, because it's so light, instead of using yellow, I may use like this E23 instead. But I'm not sure if that's going to be too dark. No, I think it'll be okay. So I'm just going to blend those together with this color, because the skin of the book is going to be brown, just not this light of brown, and not this tone of brown either. It's going to be a different brown. So I'm going to start the outside of the book now, and I'm going to use E49. E49 is really, really dark, and I'm going to build some of these like cracks and skin, whatever kind of designs they have on here. I'm gonna build those, some of those out with this really dark color so they remain dark. Huh? Gonna finish the watch tomorrow and take notes, but it looks amazing. Oh, yay, thanks. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's okay, I know not everybody stays up late, but those of my night hawks can remain, and then I'll upload this to YouTube so you guys can watch tomorrow, or you can watch in the group for 30 days. Up to you. I'm going to go along each one of these scars with this darkest color, and I'm going to build out the stitches a little bit more because I want you to be able to see them just a little bit more dominating than what's in there right now. So I think it just shows a little bit better with how my imagination works on this one. I'm just making it more pronounced. I like it that way. This is the darkest color I'll be using, so that's why it helps to do this part with it. I mean, doesn't it just look cool with all those lines on there? And they're already there, but I think you can see them so much better if you just add them in with the darkest color. And then I'm going to do some of the edges here just so the book stays standing out a little bit more. They made the lines of the edges of this book really, really light or thin, if you will. So I feel like it needed just a little bit of reinforcement. So that's why I went over that part. And then these, like, I don't even know, scars, lines, what? Wrinkles in the skin or whatever. We're gonna accent those a bit more with this marker. And now we're going to switch out of this color. I'm on the East Coast, so it's almost 11 for me. Got to work to be able to spend. I understand, Debbie. Okay. Now, I'm going to switch to the E79, 77, 74, 71 kind of sequence because I feel like that's better of the tone that I want for this book. It's not really a skin tone necessarily, but it's a really good brown without being like a bright brown. I don't know how to describe it, but let's see. Cashew is the color of this one, so maybe that helps a little bit. Kind of building this color out from where I put it the last time, leaving a little bit of space in there so it can be a much lighter color. And now I'm going to work on some of the edges to make this book stand out just a little bit more. I don't want to get too close to the stitches because I don't want it to mess up the stitches. This color is too dark to get too close to the stitches. It'll wash them out, and I don't want to do that. But I do want to keep the edges of this book pretty dark, so I'm just going to use it for that right now. Next is going to be 77, which is also a fairly dark, but then again lighter than the color we just used. So this is going to be my dominating color, so I'm going to do it on both sides and around the outside. You guys know how, around the outside. You'll see when I use these other brown colors how they blend so nicely together. I really like these. So I'm going to start putting a little bit in here. Notice I barely touched where the scar stuff is, the stitches, because I don't want to mess up the stitches, and I feel like I need to be on the next color before I color in the stitches. Otherwise, it'll wash them out and you won't be able to see them as well. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to go around the snake. A little bit on the inside of the snake area. Same thing on this one. And then a little bit along these areas right here. Because the next color is going to get way lighter. So there we go. Next, we're going to use E74. I think this might be the final color for the spine of this book, like this. The next color is going to be really, really light, so we're just going to use it a little bit. I'm going to use this one along this area just in random spots. This really blends them together very nicely, so you'll see how well this color works. That's why I chose this color for the book. And it's light enough now that it shouldn't wash out my stitches. So I'm going to start working these transition areas right here and building in a bit more of this color. See, it's leaving the stitches looking really good. So I'm going to add a little bit more now that it's working really nicely with the stitches. Which you could go all out and make these stitches like red, make them look like they're bleeding. But the book and the movie wasn't like that, so. And I'm kind of trying to make this look similar to that, so. Just to see if I can. Now, normally you follow the same direction when you're coloring hair or skin or anything like that, but because this is a book and this is all stitched together, it doesn't really matter how you do it. So notice my angles are all changing up, and I'm okay with that. Last one is E71, and this one will finish it off, and then we'll do the white in the eye, because it'll be dry by then. So I'm blending these final colors together. Taking all the white off of the book. Just getting a real good blend there. I'm going to come over here and blend this together. This one is much lighter than the last one, so you want to be real careful to make sure you get a good enough blend in there that it doesn't look funny. I'm going to work on this one back and forth to get that to blend nicely. I'll have to do it again just to make sure we get a smooth blend, and then one more spot, which is right here. And now we have this awesome looking book. I love it. It came out fantastic. I'm just going to move all my markers over because we used a lot of markers for these two. Because now we've got to make the background card, the background for the card. So I will zoom out for that. I love it too. It came out really nice. I like it. I don't think I bought, like, I didn't buy the, they didn't have any dies for it when I bought it. I don't know if they do now, but, so I'll have to cut it out. But we are going to use this stencil right here and build us a moon background so we can put this on the background. So I'm going to grab my scissors. I promise I'm a fast cutter, so we should be okay. Let's do the eyeball on this so it can dry while we're cutting out. If I can find my white gel pen that just now got buried by all these other markers I have laying on my desk. See, where are you, white gel pen? Well, it was right there. No worries. I have a second one. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to hit the little white from his eye in there. Yay! All right, so now we can let that one dry. We'll cut this one out. I think for this word book, we're just going to cut it out too. It'll be really quick because I'm just going to do it like this. Since we're oxiding the background, I just need this to be on the white paper. I do this a lot, cut out my own sentiments. Kind of doing a little dip for each O, just because it makes it look a little fancier that way. Move the paper, not the scissors, when you're fussy cutting. It makes life easier. And then I want to be a little bit more specific when I go around the B. And there we go. Now our sentiment is cut out. You think you have that stencil? It is a Doux Designs, so it is possible that you have that stencil. You probably got it at the show. The book is easy to cut out. It's pretty much a straight line. A little bit of a dip there. A little bit more on the little snaky here. I don't remember there being snakes on the book. I wonder if they just did that for a little bit more dramatic flair. I don't know what was in the artist's head when he...
He was asking if there's two versions of it.
Two versions of what?
Stencil.
Of this stencil? No, there's only one of this particular stencil, but we also, Dale also designed a full moon stencil. So there are two moon, so to speak, stencils, but they're not the same. They're quite different. So this won't take very long, I promise. Let me just get myself moving along here and I'll be able to cut this up pretty nicely. I knew I was going to cut this out, so it doesn't matter that I colored at the bottom of it, because you won't see that when I finish up. I think you don't have to be real specific when you cut this stuff out like this. Like, just as long as you get a little bit of it, you're good enough. Nobody really notices in the end. They're so busy looking at the coloring and the card itself, they don't really pay all that close attention to your cutting job. I have done a lot of fussy cutting in my life. We forgot to put that red over her hair, her little hair sprigs. So we may have to do that. The background will be super easy to build with the stencil because I just want it to be black skies, gray skies, and the moon shining. So it should be fairly easy to make, but I thought it would look super cool with these really neat stamps. I hate when you're cutting and you have this big long like tail hanging off your, it makes it harder for me to cut when I have a tail. No tail. That's the one, the moon stencils. I think you ended up with both sides. Yeah, so when we asked Dale to design us a moon stencil a while back, and he came out with the really big moon, which is really awesome. But I wanted a little moon, so I was like, I want the little moon, but we'll take the big moon too, because the big moon is awesome. So we had two. And you will be able to, if you're watching now and you don't have either one of those moon stencils, keep your eyes peeled because they will be coming to a shop near you soon. I will give more details soon. I mean, I'm sure most of you who are following the group kind of already have a little hint of what that means. Okay, this part is pretty easy. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Almost done. We're almost there. At least we didn't have any like antenna or anything to cut. Those are always the hardest for me. Anything with an antenna. There we go. See, she's all done. Now we have our 3 pieces cut out so we can blend our background. And we are going to use our magic sauce tonight. So this is from Pajama Crafters Stamps. This is some amazing stuff. It's called Dye Ink Blending Solution. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to love it. I'm going to pull out my rubber mat so I can stick my stencil down without having to worry about anything. There we go. So I'm just going to put my paper on here. I think we're going to put her, like I wonder if we should do it this way. Maybe we should do it this way. So I was going to put her up at the top, and I want her book to be down here, like hanging out. And then I want her to be hollering for her book. So maybe like a little bit like this. So I think we need the moon on this side. So let's go ahead and start it out that way. So we want the moon right here. I love this sticky mat thing. I'm telling you, I love it. I asked Jen about that, and now I get to see it in action. There you go. Yep, exactly. Okay, so Dale chose us some colors. Are these all my colors, honey, that you picked for me? Purple, blue, black. So this is my moon color. Dale chose colors for us tonight. It's a good thing the colors on this, so I know. So this blending solution works really, really great. It makes it smooth blend transition for you. It doesn't take a lot of work, but you cannot put your brush after you've put it in that. You cannot touch your ink pad. So what we have to do is use our glass mat and just put the ink on the glass. This is weathered wood. And then I'm just going to take this blending solution and just put like a drop of it over there. If I need more, I'll get more. Let me zoom out so you can see a little bit more about what I'm doing. So it's just some blending solution there. I'm going to pick up a bit of the blending solution and then the ink. And then I'm just going to put it on here. And I don't have to start from the edge of the page or anything fancy. That's it. And it's smooth and amazing, and I love it. It makes life so much easier. The only thing you have to remember is now that I have that ink on this brush, if I don't clean off this brush, I cannot put it back into this because it will mess it up. So I want my moon to have a little bit of the craters in the moon. So I'm going to use my black, whatever I have on my black brush, without sticking my brush in anything, because I just want it to be a little bit like on the textured-ish side. So I didn't even put this on the ink pad. I'm just playing with it. A little bit here, a little bit there. That's all I care about. Now I'm going to lift up my stencil, and there's my moon. So I have this little mask that I made. Oh yeah, I need that, right? Then I'll show you how it works a little bit more with different colors, how easy it is to build the background with this, because it is amazing. So I have this mask that I've used before. I'm going to put it around my moon so I can color my whole background. Do you clean your brushes after you use the blending solution? I just don't put my brushes back on my ink pads anymore. I always put them on the table. I always use my ink pad, my brushes on the table and not on the ink pad. And once you get used to that, or you can clean the brushes, it's up to you, but I just don't put my brushes in there anymore. So I want to have purple, I have a wilted violet, chipped sapphire, black soot, and stormy sky. So I have several colors that I want to build into this background, just so we have like a bit of, you know, different colors going on. So this is my wilted violet. I'm just gonna put it on straight on the glass mat. The glass mat, it wipes off easily, so you can put whatever you want on there. This one is stormy sky.
Don't use the blending solution on the purple. Use it to spot the area, and then use the blending solution on the other colors.
Why?
Because the purple will break up the color when you lay over top of it.
Then this one is chipped sapphire. I have no idea what education Dale's educating me over here. And then this is the black soot, which I'm going to put a little bit out of your vision, but it is the black soot up there. And then I'm going to use the purple to pick it up. And Dale says don't use the solution.
Yeah, just go random.
Just going random to get, we don't want this to be smooth. We just want this
and texture to the sky.
Texture and added stuff to the sky. So we want this one to be rather random. So I'm going to finish picking up the rest of that, get a little bit on there, and that's all I want. I just want this to blend with the other colors. It's not going to be a prominent color. And then this, I'll start with Stormy Sky. And I'm going to dip it in the solution. I'm going to pick up my Stormy Sky. And then I'm just going to start on the edge. And look how smooth and easy it just runs right over your color. It just blends like butter, I'm telling you. And if you need to, you can add more ink. I'm just going to add a little bit of this right to this side. I'm going to do the other blue to the other side. I want the top part of this to be lighter because the moon, you know, shows some color. So, you know. And then I'm going to take the chipped sapphire, which I want to be significantly darker. And I may end up needing more of this, but See how smooth that goes on there? I don't even have to press. It just goes on like butter. I'm gonna need more ink though, that is for sure. Chipped sapphire, so I'm just gonna keep inking this up. I'm gonna need a lot. And it blends better on the right kind of paper, but this is my coloring paper, so it's not quite as easy, but still easier than it was before. You get a much smoother blend, easy to do. It smooths out the blob. Yep, it does. And even if you get like a dark blob on there, it just smooths it right out. So no issues at all. And it's just smooth. I love it. Now I'm going to go much lighter, not smooth, but just randomly across the top so I can get some of this blue up there. And then I'm going to be done with that blue. Now I'm going to come in with the black soot. Honey, you didn't pull me the black soot brush. Oh yeah, you did. Never mind. Sorry. Okay, now I'm going to pick up the last of that little bit of ink I had.
Avoid the black soot around the moon, because
yes, I know.
Okay.
I don't need education on that, honey. Thank you. I know. Okay. So I'm adding some black to the bottom to make it a little bit darker, and some around the top just because we want this.
I got one more suggestion for you.
What?
Use the black soot on the bottom edge of the light thing and towards the top.
Okay, I need, that's too much instruction.
Oh.
Just stop. I got it.
So it looks like shadowing clouds.
Yeah. I'm not going that detailed. The point of the matter is that we have the Sanderson sister working around out here in the night. It's not about everything else. Now I do have some white that I'm going to put around the moon to make it more bright. So just hang 10 minutes. This is my chipped sapphire again. I'm coming back in. I want a little bit more of the blue in here. So you can see that I left like kind of a lighter color right here, which is what I want because I want you to be able to see that the moon is shining. I don't want to make that part too dark. I like the rest of it dark, blue and black and all kinds of like eerie sky colors. And then I have the picket fence. This is a distress ink. It's not actually an oxide, but we're going to use it tonight. I need a new brush because I've never used the white on this before. So I have a few new rabbit hole design brushes that I need to pull out one so I can use it. Okay, this is going to be my white picket fence. And I haven't used this on paper, so I'm going to test this real quick on a different piece of paper just to make sure everything is okay with it, because I've never ever used this ink pad before. So I'm going to grab a craft paper and just kind of, yep, this is going to do exactly what I want. Okay, excellent. Now that special saucy stuff is already on the paper from the other colors, so it is making this a much smoother blend. And I'm just not touching it very hard because I don't want to blend out this white too awful much. But I want it to kind of look like the moon. Does that make sense? Hopefully. I'm gonna work a little bit dark in here. Just build that in a little bit more. There we go. It's got me some purple, I got me some blue, I got me some, yes, halo around the moon. That's exactly what I'm going for. I'm gonna put a little bit more of this black soot down here because it looks a little bit lighter than I really wanted it to be. Okay, Coming back in one more time with my little white color, building my moon area. Okay, now we're gonna do the reveal. So the easy part about cleaning up after you use the magic solution, now you saw I only used a teeny tiny amount. It doesn't take much, super fast, but you get it at Pajama Crafter Stamps. It's awesome. So now I can just wet the table where I had all my ink at, and then I'm just going to wipe it up all together in one shot. I am going to take this off of here. I love this sticky mat. I'm telling you, I love this sticky mat. I'm also going to remove my moon. I wonder if I should, like, I have a little bit of water on this brush. I mean, on this, I'm going to do a little bit of texture in here. So I'm going to use my little napkin here to hopefully, like, make the sky a little bit, you know, because you can use water with it. So I don't want to spritz the water. I just want to put a little bit of the water kind of impression on it. So it's a little hard to see, but it has a little bit of texture in there, which I like and I'm excited about. So there we go. And now I'm going to peel off my moon. And there's my glowing moon. And I'm going to save my stencil. Save my little thingy on here. Halo around the moon. It's so beautiful. I love it. Okay. Now I chose just a white card base because I knew that this was going to be so dark that all I was going to need was a white card base. But I'm not really sure what I did with it. Oh, I know what I did with it. Here it is. It's off-white, actually. It's not white, it's like vanilla. And I thought it would go really good with my moon, like this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down with my glue. So this is a quick background. Didn't take a lot of time. Was super fast. But it's going to look pretty cool with the Sanderson sisters. And I normally do a little more layering with my papers, but I just didn't really feel like I was going to need it with this one. So there is our beautiful halo around the moon, our little book. We have Winifred calling her book. I'm going to actually tilt her back a bit, like this, so I can have her calling her book. I think we should put her on a wobble. What do you think? I wonder if I have a wobble. Let me look and see if I have any wobbles. I want to wobble her so bad, you guys. Oh, I don't know where they are. Well, I guess I can't wobble her tonight. So I can't find it. But I would normally wobble her because she is really cool. I think I will pop her up though. Let's pop her up. I've got some pop dots here, or some pop, whatever you call these. Let's.
Has a question.
Do you get glue line on your panel when it dries? No. I did when I used liquid glue on my water reactive inks. No. Nope, not at all. I haven't had that problem. I'm sorry. Are you using Barely Art glue? Because Barely Art glue is super cool, and I haven't had any problems with it. I have no complaints on it right now. I like to use a lot of these dots, so please don't laugh at me. I should invest in stock because I use a lot of these. I'm going to cut some in half so I can use even more. No, I'm just kidding. It's less. Do you use Barely Art glue? Do you have that problem with Barely Art glue? Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, I wouldn't normally, oh, let's put it right here. I need a teeny tiny one to do on the broom because, I mean, I don't like it when it squishes down when you put it on there. So that'll be great for the broom. Then we'll cut this one in half so I can put a little piece on the back of her dress or cape or whatever you want to call it, so it doesn't squish down. I think it was Nouveau Deluxe. It was before Barely Art took up residence in my craft room. Yeah, I don't have that problem with the Barely Art glue doing that at all. So hopefully now that Barely Art has taken up residence in your craft room, hopefully you won't have that problem either. Because if you're coloring, I know your paper is thick enough that it shouldn't do that at all. You guys, I could build a whole scene with all these Sanderson sisters and all the characters I have. I'm going to try it tonight. Use Barely Art glue. Awesome. Let us know how, if you have any problems. Maybe we can help with whatever. Okay, I want to tilt her so she's yelling at the moon. And I'm going to put her book down here. I wonder if I should put it like, I like it with the eye looking at her. So I think I'll put it like that. I popped her up so she would look like she was doing more flying than her book being flat on the ground. Or if I would have thought about it before I glued it down, we could have put it on the inside. That would have been funny. It did look cool though. Yeah, I bet. It probably gave it some texture look, huh? That's what I would think. This moon is perfect for this card. I am very excited about how that came out. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? So I have this bling that I want to use with this that I have in mind. So I just need to pull it out. I know exactly where it is. Just give me 1 second. And then we're going to add these little bling and then we'll be done. So I got these little stars. I wish I had silver. I have blue, purple, orange, red, white. I don't have white. Where is my white? Do I not have white any more white? Oh man, I'm telling you. Just checking one more place to see if I have any white stars. And I do not. So we are going to use, should we use purple or shall we use blue? What do you think? Purple or blue stars? Maybe the blue might look a little better than the purple. I think the blue. Hopefully you guys will think the blue too. And I think the frosty blue, not the shiny. So we'll just do the frosty blue and we'll put some stars out here because she's flying at night. And I think it'll look super cute. And we need 3 or 5. So we're just going to put 3 because I think 3 is perfect. What about mixing them up? Oh, that's a good idea. I guess I could add a few more. Why not, right? mean, we have them. We might as well use them. I could add a couple of these. It does kind of match her dress. Oops, I pulled that one right off the sticky thing. All right, let's see. I think the other one could go right there. And then there we go. She is now all singing. And if I wanted to, I could add Happy Halloween down here. The stamp set doesn't come with like a Happy Halloween. It's just based on the show and the stuff from the book or movie or whatever you want to call it. But I will probably add a little Happy Halloween at the bottom later. But look how cute that is. Isn't that adorable? I hope you guys really like that. I hope you thought that was fun. This is the stamp set that has the book in it. It also has Binx and the black lit light candle, and it's called Binx. And this one is the We Fly, and it has 3 of the Sanderson sisters all drop flying in the night. And then there's another set. I don't remember the name of it. Well, I can go get it real quick and I'll show you. It's sold out right now, so you'll have to wait on this one. But this one is called Sisters, and this is what they look like when they're standing up. So they're super cute too. So it's just a bunch of hocus pocus, amuck, 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 I smell children. Dost thou comprehend? So they have this one, but it's sold out. So that's why I opted for this one, because I knew you guys would like it, and it's currently not sold out, but you can keep it in mind that you can get the one where they're standing. And then this one, and then there's one of Billy the zombie guy that you can get as well. But anyway, I wanted to do some Hocus Pocus tonight. We'll do something else on Thursday night, so be sure to come back on Thursday night. We'll do probably something Halloween, but we'll do something else. Not the same stamp set, but we'll do something else. But it'll still be along the Halloween line because I'm feeling really Halloween-ish right now, and it's super fun. So yeah, so come join me again. Michelle, it was great to have you here. Thank you, Mom. Good night. Good night, everyone. And if you want, you can watch the replay, and if you have any questions, reach out to me. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Thanks. Good night. See you Thursday.